Canberra. Can we do it? Yeah, probably. Let's start. Capital was the Canberra of Australia. Canberra is the capital of Australia. It was built in 1908. Yes, that is a year. After Sydney and Melbourne were like fighting over who got to be the capital of Australia. So they were like, okay, we're just gonna build a new city halfway in between you two. And that's what they did. And that's what has happened. Canberra is on Ngunnawal land, and its name is derived from the indigenous word Canberra, which is like Canberra, except it has a K and an M. A K instead of the C and an M instead of an N. It's really, really close. Canberra is thought to mean meeting place in the indigenous language, but nobody seems 100% certain on that. Speaking of names, Canberra has a suburb called Bruce. I thought that was worth mentioning. Canberra has the most highly educated population in Australia. That's because all the politicians are down there, right? Canberra also has the highest level of average disposable income in Australia, which is definitely because the politicians are down there. Canberra also has the highest percentage of adopters of early technology and the greatest NBN take-up in all of Australia. Which is because I read an article about Canberra's airport. The author of that article was very proud of Canberra's airport because it won Australian Airport of the Year in 2013. Which would be cool, you know, if there were more airports in Australia and 2013 wasn't the only year that Canberra won. You know, they should be doing better with all this disposable income that they've got. Is that how disposable income works? Some cities come together and decide that they're sisters or twins. And that's a thing that Canberra has done. Canberra has 3 sister cities or twin cities: Beijing in China, Nara in Japan, and Wellington in New Zealand. So, there you go, you now know that. Impress your friends. You guys a fan of lists? I'm a fan of lists. Let's do a list of all the national things that are in Canberra. We have the National Film and Sound Archives, the Australian Academy of Science, the National Archives, the National Library, the National Portrait Gallery, the National Gallery of Australia, the Australian War Memorial. My phone just died. We'll be back. The National Museum, Parliament House, the High Court of Australia, the Royal Australian Mint. It's peppermint, just so you know. Australian Botanic Gardens, National Zoo and Aquarium, National Dinosaur Museum, and Questacon, the National Science and Technology Centre. Cool! How fun was that? Whoa! Big list! And I probably didn't even cover them all. Point is, Canberra has a lot of national stuff and a lot of Australian stuff. I need a segue. So you know how I said Australian Botanic Gardens in that list that I just said? Well, Botanic Gardens have flowers, and Canberra has the largest flower festival in the Southern Hemisphere. How's that for a segue? It's called Floriade. Not to be confused with fluoride. I think it's called Floriade. Anyway, lots of flowers. I've already said that? There's lots of flowers. Anyway, super pretty. Probably lots of bees too, but lots of flowers. The most flowers in the Southern Hemisphere in one spot. The event is also smoke-free, so if there's any bushfires in the area, you've been warned. Thanks for watching. That was Canberra. How cool is Canberra? Have you been to Canberra? I've been to Canberra. It was fun. I enjoyed it. We are doing Sydney next week, which is going to be fun. That's the last of the Australian Capital Cities series. That's a mouthful. Anyway, I'll see you next week with Sydney.